Dear friends, thank you for being here. And thanks also to the organization for letting us, local governments, to have this window in this important congress. Being a representative of a local government lets me come to floor. Local policies are touchable. They are directed to real people, as Jordi said. So I will try to explain the case of the city of Bilbao, using the culture as a pillar for the development. I will speak only about the culture as an economical guide, but besides, the culture has been also, and it is for the city, a driver of social cohesion, social development, and social inclusion. But I will speak about that tomorrow in another session. But both of them go together, and one is nothing without the other. Some facts, about the context. Metropolitan Bilbao is home to around half the population and economic activity of the Basque Country. It stands on the crossroads of the main North-South European transport route and the emergent East-West route. The city is gearing up to take advantage of this excellent location to become a true hinge point in Europe. The per capita GDP of the Basque Country stands at around 130% of the European average, and its human development level is similar to that of the most advanced countries. During the past 25 years, the city of Bilbao has experienced an extraordinary transformation. We have come from being the city of the iron, referring to an industrial city, to a city of the titanium, the Guggenheim Museum, built of titanium, the icon, the symbol. The city made culture-based urban revitalization. Now, our interest is in culture and knowledge revolution. So, you can see in the screen how the new Bilbao was born, which were the phases, and in this new reality, the cultural policies have played a key role. Bilbao has been known for its industrial character, the character of an iron city. We were a city with an economy based on steel, shipbuild, and business industries. During the 80s, we lived really hard times in our city. The strong industrial reconversion and the generalized closure of companies gave us a result a discouraging scene covered by the pessimism of the citizens, and that gave us the result, the end of our character of an iron city, industrial city. Those images are from when I was a teenager, so I have lived that. But later on, in 1893, besides that previous dramatic situation, the city suffered the most dramatic floods of its history. And that flood destroyed most part of the city, especially the old quarter. As a response to this delicate situation with an employment of 25%, diverse public, especially, but also private institutions began a holistic process of revitalization that has given, as a result, a unique culture-based urban revolution. The renovation of the city has been based on important urban projects, yes, the rehabilitation of the historic center, the construction of the metro and the tram, the extension of the airport and maritime port, the regeneration of the river, the construction of new neighborhoods, the urbanization of the emblematic space of Abarribarra near the river. But if there is something that outstands, is the strong commitment for fostering culture. One of the key action lines of regeneration has been the achievement of the cultural centrality. The Guggenheim Museum has been the starting point of the change process. It has placed the city in the map. It was the best bet in a moment of crisis. And besides, it brings also high quality and sustainable tourism. In last year, the GDP generation of that museum was 296 million euros. But also because of the specific tax income of the Basque region, it gave us direct income tax of 45 million euros. and the employment maintenance is about 6,300. But besides, the museum has not given only an economic return, has given something which is intangible. It's achieved that citizens leave the pessimism and recover the trust in their city. It has proved that the citizens are proud of being part of the city, and that is at least as much as important as the economical income. But the Guggenheim Museum, as I said, has not been the end point. It was the starting point. A city's strategy cannot be based only on an icon, because a new icon can be built. Someone can create a better museum, a more beautiful museum. So that's important. The Guggenheim Museum put us in the international map. But our strategy was wider. Our strategy was to have the vision to base the general strategy of the city in the culture. The cultural activity in a city is the measure of the city's collective vitality, and it determines its attractiveness also. And there won't be, I think, an important city if they are not at the same time economically important, but also culturally important. So, having that broad view, and having some equipment, and having some facilities and big infrastructure, that was the international econ. The city policy also tried to put the accent on the city itself, with projects on that international image, but also the creators, local and international creators, because the literature is always useful and enriches local talent. But finally, and especially, the accent was put in the citizens, because they have their needs, they have their rights, and sometimes they don't tell us, because we don't have the cultural, the organizational culture to let them a space to tell us what they need, or what they feel they need, or what they want. So the arts form part of everyday life. We have museums, sculptures, but not only inside the museums, also in the streets. Why? Because not everyone is able to go to a museum. Maybe someone hasn't learned to go to a museum. It's not accustomed. So art is also in the streets, because we must give people the opportunities to touch it, to use it, to enjoy it without paying a fee, or without going to a closed space. As I said, the museum is much more than just an artistic and cultural amenity. It has come to symbolize a society's wish to change, and that's the strength. It's not the museum itself, it's the symbol of the wish of the citizens of the city to change and to go ahead. And it's based on the confidence, what an important concept, and also in a firm belief that it was possible to reinvent and to construct Bilbao beside that drama we suffered. And that new city is built on the ruins of an outdated industrial production system, but maintaining the identity of that part of Bilbao we were before that crisis. Architect Gary designed for Bilbao his greatest building, and perhaps we like to understand that way the finest work of cutting-edge architecture for the 20th century. The museum welcomes around 1 million visitors per year, making it a cultural and tourist attraction on a worldwide scale. In terms of investment, more or less, it was 100 million euros, the cost of it. And in 1 year, it contributed to the Basque country's GDP with 144 million euros. Which activity gives such devolution of the investment made in 1 year? Last year, the generation was almost 300 million, and the employment maintenance, I think there was 6,300. And each visitor gives us 352 euros per visitor. And considering that we are a small city, we like to think that we're big, but a small city in the global world. Consider that each visitor remains in the city 1.9 days. 352 euros for each is quite a lot. But in fact, we have other facilities like Fine Art Museum, the Artistic Reproduction Museum, Contemporary Art Galleries. Also, Bilbao Arte, a production center which provides young creative artists with the resources free for a year, and infrastructure also that they need to develop their works, and usually we have interchange with international artists to enrich both local talent and foreign talent. And as I said, artists everywhere in the city, more than 150 sculptures along the city. So, as I said, art and the culture are not just seen as objects to admire, but as a way of life. And that is why the city hosts a wide range of artistic and cultural events, although it's small, which draw large and enthusiastic audiences. The cultural and entertainment calendar features film festivals, music, theater, dance. From large scale, which is important, open air rock festivals like those you can see on the screen, and opera season, which is private, music in all forms, and also libraries, halls, public libraries in every district of the city, and also recovering the old industries area. This was an old industrial area dedicated to the culture, and with so famous architects working for us. This is the Music and Congress Palace, and I wanted to say that this Congress Hall is new, that, as I said before, always linked to our history. The name is Euskalduna in Basque, and that means it's Basque. And it was the name of a sheep factory which suffered that crisis of the 80s, and it was a symbol of the darkness of those days: strikes, violence, annoyance. And now it's a congress, but also a cultural center with the form of a big sheep, and in its corner there is, of course, a new maritime museum. The local and municipal theater, but also the Campus Asia's theater, which was abandoned, and 2 years ago we renewed it in a private corporation. But also the Meridian Sports Hall, which is for biggest auditions, and also a multifunctional center. And this Alhóndiga, it's a standout venue in this regard, because this historical building has been turned into a multi-purpose cultural center, an open space, an open square, an open agora by French designer Philippe Starck. But not only that, because that space was an old wine house, and we asked him to maintain the exterior structure to maintain our history. So we are proud of our heritage, I've told you about it, but also the heritage about the buildings and the historic and the development center of the city. So all the innovative urban generation have been undertaken, taking into consideration that historical heritage. For example, that's the market. It was the biggest covered market in Europe, and it was Prague. So 1 year ago we renewed it, but we tried to maintain the original style. You can see in two colors. The color in yellow is the part which was not renewed. Now it's fully renewed, but also the new square in the old quarter, the palaces in the old quarters, and so on. That's the campus I told you about. That's Alhóndiga I told you about, Campus Theater. But gastronomy is also culture. It's a part of the community. So we try to keep it and to maintain it, because we have a good reputation for being one of the best cuisines in the world. I want you to know that we usually are considered as broad as peacocks, as you can see, so we are the best in the world. But I cannot forget the Basque language, because the Basque country is of particular interest for its unique age-old culture, the most remarkable feature of which is the Basque language, Euskera, which is unrelated to any other Indo-European language. In fact, it's the oldest language alive in Europe. So thanks to the various programs and campaigns, we try to maintain it and to keep it. And now, some ideas. As you have seen, the need to improve was a fact. I mean, we had to improve upon that industrial model. The standards for that future development was based on 4 conceptual axes, and both 4 were important. Accessibility and internal mobility, the port, the airport, the tram, the metro, etc. The environmental and the urban regulation, it was an industrial city. Then the investment, the third place, the investment in human resources and technology. I'm talking about values, about knowledge, creativity, dedication, motivation, and those are a challenge. I'm talking about talent. And fourth, the cultural centrality I talked about. But these needed first political leadership, a political commitment at the local level, but also at all of levels of government. So political leadership was important, is important, but cooperation and partnership is also important. Independent of the political parties that are in the different levels, because if we begin in a war, in a political way, projects won't go ahead. So political leadership and then cooperation, public, at all levels of government, even international. We try to have international relations linking to the culture, and then public-private leadership. And the last idea is about the culture that we have been working in a new public administration culture, not only for the government, but also for the civil servants. And that new public administration culture is based in 2 concepts. The first one, transparency and economical accuracy. Transparency, because if you don't tell the people who you serve, what are your goals, what are your objectives, what is your strategy, you can talk with them if they agree or if they don't agree, or what do they say about that. And then economical accuracy, because the strategy for the city has to be sustainable for the future. And then the second one, because transparency and economical accuracy, is citizen participation in a wide range of ways. Maybe talking to associations for sectors of the culture, maybe for NGOs, but also to individual citizens who must have a direct access to the people who are making policies for their lives. And that's all.